Previously on Exos. There was a rogue spring. There was speed soldering. There was fire. Fire. There was loves. There was biting. Lots of biting. There was solder falling over.
So I've been trying to desolder these DRAM chips off this STM board. All the pins underneath the motherboard are totally clean, but someone's put so much solder on top of these pads it's just impossible to get the chip out again. So I've just cut away the top chip. I'm not cutting away these pins at all, because as I said in the previous video, if I go and chop that with the cutters, it'll bend the pin over, and with a lump of solder on it as well, the solder will bend, and the solder's obviously soldered to the pad, so it will rip the pad off. So I'm not going to go around and snip this chip out and pull the pins out as I would ordinarily do with one of those chips that are just clean, and you could actually snip them all out and heat them up with a normal soldering iron and pull them out one at a time. So I'm just going to use the hot air station on it because there's not really a lot of choice at this point. So we'll see if we can get this going. It makes a lot of noise. See if we can gently lever it out without destroying things. Out we come. That will unfortunately chug away for quite a while. So now we have the chip out. Now I was a little bit against trying to unsolder them straight from the top when they're still actually soldered on the bottom, but in this case, because it's so hot anyway, I think they will all come out without too much bother. So let's give that one a try. I'll never hold it still like that on top of the chip, because the heat being concentrated in one place will burn the chip, and it will burn the motherboard very easily. So always move it around the outsides of the chip and try and get the heat flow as consistent as possible. Now I'm just very gently trying to lever it up. When the solder's melted, it will start coming out very easily on its own anyway. will take a lot longer to come out because the solder's not gone from underneath. So now we can see it's nice and loose. Are you going to just pop out? Yes. Just take him off. Got some wires in the way. So let's go on to the next chips. See if we can zoom in a little bit more, but this camera is terrible. That's as close as it will go. I'm using no force at all to lever this chip. The only force is literally the weight of the screwdriver underneath. That should be all the force that's needed for the chip to free itself from the solder when it's ready. Out we come. Very gently twisting the screwdriver and moving it. No force there on the screwdriver at all, otherwise it will rip the pads off. Heat shrink is on that resistor a little bit in the way there, so this is going to smoke a bit. Crap. Mutilated heat shrink. Careful I don't melt the capacitor on the end, but I'll probably end up changing that one. Better one anyway. So I saw the chips off, so what we really need is a clean up. So I'm just putting some flux on these pads to finish sucking the solder out. Hopefully this will go quite easily. Actually, I had this set on 450, so I'm going to reduce this down to 400 because I don't want to risk damaging the pads. 400 is probably a little bit too high, but we've still got a lot of copper on these pads, so let's see how we get on with 400. See. Well, these top pads are probably going to be the most awkward ones because there's large areas of copper on them. What I may do then with a soldering iron afterwards. I think a lot of these capacitors are actually in the way. I think it'll actually be easier to do this from the bottom. I was trying to do it from the top because that's where all the blobby solder was, but with the capacitors being in the way. Don't know how this flux has gone like congealed or something in the tube. So which pads have we got? This one. That's the stubborn pad. I'll come back to him later, but we'll probably attack that one from the top. So it looks like where the solder is. That pad sounds like it's blocked from the top. That one might be stuck as well, but I Can't remember how far I got with the flux. Just lay this board down so it doesn't keep moving about everywhere. Now the solder is now free out of the majority of the holes, so I'll just use some of these IPA swabs. I just find them really handy for cleaning up pads afterwards, so give a more gentle wipe over to get rid of all the flux, so then I think that'll be calling it a night for today. Probably tomorrow I'll just go over the odd pads which have still got some solder in, and then I'll be soldering in some header sockets because I hope to try my 4 meg STM upgrades in this machine. Just clean enough there, so wires is still came out. Off with the abomination. So I think that's all cleaned up good enough for now. So hopefully everyone is now bored as I am. So I must have unsoldered about 60 million pins on this motherboard. So I'll suck these pads out tomorrow and double check them. I'll solder him back in again, though probably it's not really going to matter if it comes out anyway. So I'm not putting the DRAM chips back in. So that's all for now. Bye now.